Ladies and gentlemen, I do not feel the best, but we are going to just plug through. Why? Because we're back and it's college football season. Week 1 is upon us, and we have our very first ever special guest picker for our preview and predictions today. The games: Notre Dame, Miami, Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, Florida State, and LSU, Clemson. You're not going to want to miss the end of this episode with preview and predictions. We have our very good friend Savanah Tujague back on the show to guest pick with us. We're pumped. We're fired up. We're ready for some college football. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris. Whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Podbean, or Apple, big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by us. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagrams at pigskin_frenzy, and the website is www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. We are super fired up. 5,300 listeners. We just got to that. So we're just going to keep climbing. We're going to keep stacking. Big thank you guys for just tuning in each and every week. And we're just, not only that, we could not be more thankful to our Lord and Savior Jesus. We love him, and we're so thankful for him to just bring these listeners together and just to come and just bless us with just doing this, because we love talking about college football each and every week. Guys, let's welcome in Savanah Tujague, because she's back on the show. She was a very, very popular guest because the numbers on that episode were awesome. And she is our resident homegirl of the show. So ladies and gentlemen, Savanah Tujague, what's up? How are you?
I'm so good. Happy to be here. Happy to be back. Love talking ball. And now it's finally football season.
Dude, we're pumped, and I am pumped. It's literally in my veins right now. Like, I am super, super excited. And we're going to talk about the Week 1 preview and predictions for our, Pigskin Frenzy. Our Pigskin games are coming at the very end. We've been waiting on this probably since the day after the national championship for 2024 season. So we're pumped. We're ready. Before we get into college football talk, we have to go over some of the tweets that, have transpired on your X, and a lot of people have either A, we're like, oh, okay, we're going to play along with a joke, or B, there are some too serious people out there, and I don't know why. We don't have to be that serious, all right? So let's just chill out about these remarks that you made, and we're going to talk about them. It was posted a couple of days ago, and we're going to discuss it. It says, and I quote, "Yearly reminder that wearing another man's name on your back as a grown man is weird. Parentheses, there's exception to every rule, ... but not many." Let's discuss this. Let's give our thoughts on this. Savanah, what are your takes on this tweet? Explain, because there's a lot of people who were, followers and listeners of my show that are probably thinking, what, I wear jerseys, right? So
I will totally explain. So I apologize in advance. This is something I'm very passionate about. So if I start sounding crazy, it's because I am.
It's okay.
But no, okay. I also, if you're on YouTube or you see us on Twitter, comment your thoughts in our stuff. We want to know your opinion, because whether you agree with me or not, your opinion matters. So add it. I love seeing people whose opinions are different than mine. It's also just all in good fun. Let me start there. Without fan support, CFB is nothing. So it doesn't matter how you show up or what you show up in. We're happy that you're there. But in my ideal world, if Savanah could have everything she wanted at college football games, it would include not a single man wearing a jersey, because that is weird, besides the players on the field. I just think that their jerseys are for the girlies and for the guys that are playing. And so that's really the take. If you are a fan, there is polos, there is gear, there is streetwear, there is just the colors of the team, there is Nike. You have so many other options. Why do you need another man's name on your back? I don't know. Kind of crazy to me. Kind of crazy. Why are you repping some other dude's last name?
Well, we're going to clip this into a reel, and this will probably be on X and Instagram. So if you guys want to leave your thoughts and comments, you're welcome to do it. I mean, why not?
I will die on this hill. No one could change my mind. So
you do you. I'm not saying that. Look, to me, I'm just a guy who just talks about college football. I love it. I love it too much. like I said, I have a Pigskin Frenzy jersey that I plug. I had a hat the other day, but obviously I got to plug my own merch in the future. Guys, there will be merch in the future. I'm just letting you guys know now. There's going to be Pigskin Frenzy merch, and it's going to be pretty freaking cool. So, but I mean, I plugged my own merch. I plugged like the jersey that was gifted to me. It was awesome. But I know, like you said, there are exceptions to that. So, are like, what other exceptions are there?
Yes, the exceptions are this. Any man can wear a women's jersey. Like if you're supporting the WNBA, go off, King. Love it. Love it. Absolutely acceptable. Another exception is like, you know, when big athletes, like I'm a Detroit Lions fan, right? I don't know anything about basketball, but like I know that like let's say Detroit basketball team is playing, I don't even know what it's called. Like that's how bad this is. And they like wear a Jared Goff jersey as they're like walking into the game. They're the Detroit Pistons. That's what they're called. So like if some player on the Pistons like walks into the game like wearing a like a Jared Goff jersey or like something to nod one of the players in one of their jerseys, also acceptable. Another exception is like my cousin is in the MLB. If my brother like wore a jersey of his to the game, okay, my brother would not do that because again, my family is a firm believer in don't wear other men's last name on your backs. Wear your own because they're all athletes. So like there's some exceptions to the rule and those are them. And this rule is only for men. This is not for girls. A girly pop looks great in a jersey. Anytime, anywhere, anything. So those are some of the exceptions.
I have to write this down. Guys, I'm just telling you, listeners out there, men listeners, predominantly male listeners, probably take notes. That's all I'm going to have to say is take notes. I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it at that, I guess. There's also, I mean, other things that when you talk about straight from your ex as well, the taste test. I need to ask about this because I want to know personally, this is just a personal like Joel question. What are some of your favorite taste tests that you've done? We got to get you back on here to do a live taste test one time.
I will. I'm in. You tell me what you want me to taste test, I'll do it. Honestly, it's kind of just funny. Like it started because like there's nothing to talk about in July. So I'm like, I needed to talk about something. And it just kind of turned out to be taste tests. I don't even know how. But my favorite taste test has definitely been Culver's, like hands down best thing ever. Another one I had a really fun time recording was my taste test on the 4th of July with my dad. We taste tested every single energy drink that's like 4th of July themed. That one was really fun. And then I do like energy drink ones a lot, but I'm an Alani Nu stan and supporter. I drink Element every day. This is not an ad. This is not a sponsor. I truly buy this with my own money. I love them. They're like hydration drinks, so I'll do some hydration drinks just to compare them to Element. But definitely Culver's and the energy drink taste tests with my dad have been my favorite so far.
I mean, that's unique. I mean, as a person that's not like an energy drink person, like you're just kind of weird because I'm not a coffee drinker. Okay, let's just backtrack. I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm not an energy drink person. I just wake up and I just feel alive for some reason. I don't know why. I guess it's just the Lord blessing me when I wake up and I just start going, you know? So I don't know. But I will say this, taste test, Culver's, I'm all for it. Or, I mean, there's Whataburger. I keep mentioning that to you, but there is Whataburger. We need to get, so we need to have someone else come on here to be a judge who's never tried In-N-Out or Whataburger, like just me, you, and like a bystander, and like taste test both to see which one wins. Because I know we've been talking about that a lot.
So my thing is just like, I don't even know if I understand the comparison, but I just think they're so different. Like I'm expecting different things from Whataburger than I am from In-N-Out.
Yeah. Because I know we talked about that last time, and we discussed it. And we were thinking like, okay, In-N-Out's because you're from California.
Yeah,
right?
If you're from LA, you love In-N-Out. It's just the bottom line.
Yeah. Guys, we're just, shooting stuff at this point. I know we got to talk about college football, but we're just talking about taste test and how Savanah is. You're from LA, right?
Yeah.
From the video, she's so LA. That's what she said. I forgot about that.
Yes, I have a video I'll probably post next week of Savannah being very LA. It's not a lot of the time anymore because I'm very much a Southern girl now, but occasionally LA Savannah comes out to play.
Okay, so now I got ask another question before we talk about college football. This is just we should add a segment called Random Things with Savannah and Joel on this show every time Savannah comes on. What is considered the South? What stops? Like, what's the stopping point of the South?
You guys are gonna hate my answer because I lived in Virginia, so like that's the South. Look, there's a difference between the deep South and the South, though.
Right.
Like, what's technically the South? This is crazy. This is a hot take, but Maryland is technically the South. It is.
That is a very unique take. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that.
No, if you like look at the history and stuff, it's technically like the DMV is the South.
Okay.
I guess not Delaware, but Delaware is like kind of not really a thing. But anyways, Maryland is like technically the most northern state of the South. I would not give it to Maryland on a regular day. Someone told me this and then I went down a rabbit hole. But I would say like Virginia South is the South. And then the deep South is like, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana.
Okay. I consider parts of Arkansas the South, but I think once we get up to like Fayetteville, Razorback fans, and y'all need to cover your ears on this. I consider that more the Midwest as we get closer toward Missouri.
Yeah, well, and I would say like southern Florida is not giving the South. Miami is not the South. But the further north you are in Florida, the more deep South it is. Because that panhandle part that's right under Alabama, that's the deep South, let me tell you.
So, yeah, you're right. You're right. So people like Miami obviously would be, okay, South. Obviously, it is South. It's right by the beach. But would you consider that like Southern, if that makes sense?
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, it's absolutely not Southern in Miami.
Okay.
Miami is the East Coast version of Los Angeles. And I mean, I love Miami, but I live in the South for a reason. I like Southern living. I like Southern hospitality. I like Southern food. So Miami's not particularly for me.
So people like me, South, right? So like Mississippi, South.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Southern. Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. And Illinois, kind of just all right. And I'm here. All right, that's
definitely the Midwest.
Tom Fornelli. If you hear this, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Anyway, I know. That's just my vantage point. I mean, when you talk about the South, to me, it's like, okay, like you said, parts of Texas, Louisiana, parts of Arkansas. This is for me. Parts of Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, a little bit, Tennessee, parts of Kentucky, and then Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, and then part like Florida, considered to me. But it's like when it comes to like, okay, you're getting up there to Fayetteville, Arkansas, then going to Tulsa, Oklahoma, then you're like, okay, Missouri. You're going towards the Midwest at that point. That's what I guess my thing is.
No, I agree. And not to be forgotten, but we haven't mentioned it, Texas is obviously the South, but I actually feel like Texas is its own version of Southern. Not in a bad way. I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I love Texas, but it's just like I wouldn't put it next to like Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana.
So what do you mean by its own Southern?
Like I would say it's more Southern, like Florida, Central Florida up than it is like Mississippi.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. All right. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Hey, we're getting more real material here, guys. We really are. Let's talk about college football. I know it's time to talk about football, but let's talk about it. Okay. What's the most important game for week 1? I had Ghost of Texas football on. Shout out to Ghost. He is the man, by the way. Tuesday's episode was fantastic. We talked about this a touch, and he had a surprising answer on this one. What's the most important game in week 1? I kind of want to see if it aligns with Ghost.
Now I'm trying to think of what he would say because I don't know what he would say if he didn't say Texas OU. I would say there's one other game and Hold on. This is a good question. Let me really think about what I want to say here because there's two other options. The other option is Miami Notre Dame. For sure.
Real ball knower. Real ball knower right here, ladies and gentlemen.
And then there's LSU Clemson.
Real ball knower. Okay, see, we already know. She already knows ball.
So it's got to be one of those three games. I would say. Okay. Well, sorry, this is my thought process of it.
No, you're fine.
My thought process is this. Ohio State and Texas, regardless of the outcome of that game, I think both of those teams are CFP teams.
Okay.
So, not that game. Because when I think what's the biggest game, it's the one that like actually has playoff like projections, hopes attached to it, right? Like if they lose this game, they probably don't make it into the CFP. Then there is Notre Dame, Miami, and Clemson, LSU. Okay, I'm going to go with Clemson, LSU, and here's why. Because I think Notre Dame makes it into the college football playoff. And Miami is like could not, but I don't think that them losing to Notre Dame takes them out of CFP contention. Whereas if LSU loses to Clemson, they're out of CFP contention in my opinion. Cuz they're not going to make it to the SEC championship. They're going to lose a game during the season or two. And so that, for me, I guess, is the game. And I like it because it's kind of, in my opinion, I'm dubbing it a rivalry. I'm dubbing it Battle of the Real Death Valley. And so it has more implications than just CFP ones. So I think I'm going with that game. So I'm curious if that's what Ghost went with.
Spoiler alert, he did go with that game.
Okay.
That was his game. And I believe that also. I think that Clemson and LSU, and I know we're going to pick it, so we can't do our picks yet until the end, but Clemson and LSU is probably the most important game overall in college football. I said it, and guess what? When we do Tuesday's episode, I'm going to be by myself on Tuesday again. You're probably thinking, really, you're by yourself again? I am by myself on Tuesday for our recap of week one. Now, when I say it, I'm going to say it, hit the point home again. It's the most important game in week one.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, for Clemson, it's going to show, are we really legit? Are we a legit CFP team? Are we legit in college football in general? Are we legit this season? Yeah. Besides, playing I'm not going to say softer schedule, but a smaller schedule than what LSU's got to go through. Because LSU's got more losable games on their schedule than Clemson does. Yeah. That's not a disrespect at Clemson or knock at Clemson.
If you're disrespecting my ACC, let's just quit while we're ahead.
We're not disrespecting Savannah's ACC.
Thank you.
We're just calling it how it is.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, I don't know that I feel like LSU has the hardest schedule in the world compared to like Mississippi State and Florida in the SEC.
Or OU.
Yeah, OU has a tough one also. I talked about that last week, but you're right. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely way more losable games for sure.
And then when you on the other flip side of that, we talk about LSU. LSU had won an opener since 2019. Spoiler alert for the trivia question on Pigskin Frenzy's Instagram account. But they haven't won a game since 2019. Joe Burrow was their quarterback. That is insane to think about. So not only that, but wouldn't it be fitting for them to walk into Clemson Memorial Stadium, which, by the way, Clemson Memorial Stadium, I mean, hard place to go in and win. All right? Yeah. So very hard place to go in and win. You walk in, you beat them, and then Clemson strolls off into the sunset, wins the ACC title, goes into a playoff or whatever as a one-loss ACC champion. That's going to look good on your resume for LSU if you start winning these games and you have to write your schedule. So they need that. They need to win an opener. And for Brian Kelly's sake, for the fans, they need this. Like, I mean, I've been saying it for the past summer. I'm banging my hand on the table again. They need that. LSU probably needs it a little bit more than Clemson does. Let me just put it that way. And
I think they for sure do. They definitely need it more than Clemson does.
And that's pretty much the most important game for me in week one. And I think, overall, you can talk about Texas and Ohio State. Yes, it's a good rivalry matchup. It's really, it's fun to watch. Arch Manning versus Julian Sayin. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But I just think when it comes to just more to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Clemson and LSU's got to be it.
Yes.
And if everybody wants to say Miami, Notre Dame, that's an interesting one as well, because I think Notre Dame and Miami's got some implications as well, especially for Notre Dame's sake. So, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, the Catholics versus the convicts. I guess that's actually that's also a rivalry. But, yeah, it will be a bad look if Notre Dame loses that game, for sure.
Are we getting a hint? There's a slight hint of what you're going. She may. It sounds like you're leaning towards them, but hey, I'm not.
No, I. At the end of the day, I'm an ACC homer, so I want every ACC team to win besides UNC. But I think it's a bad look if they don't win that game. Because
should I take my hat off? It's Carolina blue.
Oh, you're lucky. My lighting is too bright for me to see it because that's tough. Do I need to add some red?
It's up to you. There we go. Yeah.
I could also put this hat on. It says, "This is my I hate UNC hat."
You were welcome to wear it.
No, but yeah. Like I said, I will be rooting personally for Miami for the ACC, but that doesn't reflect what I think will happen or what I want to happen or like what will happen or my actual analysis of the game. But yes, I think it'll be a bad look for Notre Dame if they lose that game, to be totally honest. Yeah. I just don't think the implications are as high as if LSU loses or LSU and Clemson game.
Yeah. And I like what you said there about, okay, this is going to be bad if Notre Dame loses. I want you to tell me why at the very end when we do our Pigskin Frenzy games. You gotta like explain that because I think that's very interesting. That's in the back of my head. I won't forget it. It's already gonna be lodged in there. Your reaction to the rankings was so when the AP came out initially. What was your reaction to the teams? Like okay, are these teams properly fared? Who should have been in the rankings?
Yeah. I put out a tweet that put my teams that were the most underrated and the most overrated in the AP rankings. And I may have changed my mind a little bit since then, to be honest. But this is about what I would think they would be. Do I like them? Do I agree with them? No. Do I think some teams are too high and others are too low? Absolutely. Do I think they got the top 5 right? Yes.
Yeah.
Would I say that order? Maybe not. Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia. I might swap a couple things around and probably put Clemson above Ohio State simply because, how much do we know about Julian Sayin compared to Cade Klubnik? Not a lot. Not enough. Not enough to rank him the number 3 team in the country, in my opinion. But
that was my top 6 was correct. I immediately, back in June, I said when I was doing my conference standing projections, I said that Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, and Notre Dame were, that was the top 6 at least. I didn't. Now it's not in the right order that I had it in, but that was immediately okay, they got it right. 1 and 2, they immediately got right. I believe. I think those are the 2 best teams currently right now. Penn State and Texas. Now we'll have to see when the game starts playing. Then maybe. Listen, I always put an asterisk when I do these conference standing stuff and conference standing projections, and when I talk college football, I always put an asterisk, and I always say it, and I make a point to say this, subject to change, because I got to see it on the field.
Well, and that's why, it's so funny because online the discourse is always we hate preseason rankings. They're so dumb. They're so stupid. Yes, we all think that. We all think that. Yeah, we all still talk about them. We're all still going to evaluate them. We have nothing else to talk about because the season hasn't started and we're excited for it to start. So, yes, we're going to rank preseason and we're never going to stop. And are we going to be wrong? Yeah, probably. But that's the whole fun of talking about college football is that's what makes it great. The NFL isn't like that. You know who's at the top and you know who's at the bottom and it doesn't really change. But watch some random team that's not ranked preseason be in the top 10 at the end of the year. And that's what we, again, live and die for in college football. So I love it.
Who do you think should have been in the rankings? I'm going to say mine really quick, Georgia Tech. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I really want Georgia Tech to be. I think the disrespect that they're giving right now is just crazy to me. But I think Georgia Tech should have been in. Who are your teams?
Well, that's definitely one of mine. I think as a whole, the ACC is disrespected. Yeah. Is that Homer of me? Maybe, but is it also true? Yes, because everyone thinks that they have a lesser schedule, and so it is a little bit disrespect. But I agree. I think that Georgia Tech should have been in, and that is totally my team. I think Boise State shouldn't be in. I'm high on Utah this year. I don't know if they should be in, but I would consider it. I think they'll be better than teams like Indiana and Boise State. I think Texas Tech should have been higher. I think Ole Miss is way too high, and some of this stuff just goes back to name recognition because they go with the teams that people watch, that people care about, that people talk about, that are in the SEC, that are, like I said, name recognition brands. I think Alabama is ranked well, but are we ever going to see a poll in the next 5 years that doesn't have Alabama, regardless of how good they do or don't do? No, the answer is no.
Well, I hinted a subtle rant, just a tiny bit of a rant, but that's fine. Look, we believe in that on Pigskin Frenzy. We love when people come on here and discuss their thoughts. That was awesome. That will probably be a clip as well. Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying. For real, honestly, I agree. I think that there's a lot of teams in the ACC that are disrespected. I think NC State's disrespected. I've said that for a minute, and I'm not saying that to, this guy's trying to, sweet talker or anything. I'm just being honest. I think CJ Bailey is a slept-on quarterback. I think the line of scrimmage for NC State is going to be really good. I don't know. I just think that NC State slept on. I've said that on a lot of shows as well. I think that Georgia Tech is slept on, and it's making me a little bit upset that Georgia Tech is not being ranked or not really being shown love, right? I think Haynes King is one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks in college football, not just in the ACC or in any other Power 4 conference, and just all of college football.
Yeah.
I love Georgia Tech, man.
I couldn't agree more. I think the one positive about, and if you don't know, I try to not mention NC State because I try to keep us off the radar because that just works best for me and my superstitions. But yeah, I think we'll be dogs in the trenches, and I think that CJ Bailey, this is my hot take. I said it the other day, but I think this is probably a hot take. I think he finishes as top 3 quarterbacks in the ACC, to be honest. I know we have Haynes King. I know we have Cade Klubnik. I know the guy at Syracuse is supposed to be a dog. I know that there's a lot of people in the ACC that are good and are expected to do a lot this fall. But I think CJ Bailey, the strides that quarterbacks make from being true freshmen to sophomores, ACC or not, CJ Bailey or not, are insane. Just look up quarterbacks and the development that they have had in the offseason from being a true freshman that had to start for whatever reason, because had to is the right word. Nobody is trying to start true freshman quarterbacks. It's just not a thing, right?
Right.
And so for whatever reason, they had to end up playing. The development that happens during the season, getting that experience, and then in the offseason going into their sophomore year is incredible. And so I think CJ Bailey will ball out and do extremely well. But I think teams like Georgia Tech and NC State do better when there is no spotlight on them and they are underestimated. So as much as I think Georgia Tech specifically should have been in the top 25, I think that is exactly where they want to be and where their head coach, Brent Key, wants them to be, in the sense that now they're underestimated. And they're now we have something to prove. Watch us. So I'm excited to see how it plays out for them. But yes, I am always secretly rooting for Georgia Tech, besides 1 week of the year when they play my dad.
That's really good. That's good. And there is actually, you're right. There's not a lot of true freshman quarterbacks that actually really start right off the bat. There's only 2 that I can think of right now in my head, and that's Bryce Underwood from Michigan and Drake Lindsey from Minnesota. Literally, those are the only 2 really I can think of.
Yeah, I think that Philip Rivers, and I might be wrong. I actually don't know. My dad didn't. I don't know all the NC State lore from years before, but I think Philip Rivers also started as a true freshman when he went to NC State. But you're right. It's not very, and we know the career that Philip Rivers had. So it's like a once in a generation type thing. This doesn't happen often. Any true freshman who's starting at quarterback, it's because something happened and it was the only option.
Right.
So, yeah.
There's not. And then it's because of the portal. That's
Yeah.
really it. It's
And
because of the
now
transfer portal.
yes, absolutely. You
And
don't
people
need
sit behind people. Yeah.
yeah.
That's just my thoughts. I wish there were more true freshman quarterbacks that started. But hey, we're
Woo!
going to see two this year.
Yes,
So,
we will. I'm excited to see that play out.
yeah, we're going to watch Underwood play, and we're going to watch a lot of these other players, play who are, or at least some. As far as I know, there are more true freshman quarterbacks. Don't hate me on that, guys. Those are the two that came to my head. So we'll see. Not going to be a very long episode, right? We're just going to just talk about these games and break them down. It'll probably end up being, I say that all the time, and then it ends up being an hour episode because we break down the games so long. But it's time for our preview and predictions. Week 1 preview and predictions. We're going to cover these games, talk about them. War Pigskin Frenzy. I'm fired up. Been waiting on this. Savanah is our first ever guest picker. We're going to have one next week, and we're going to promote that at the end of the episode. And then week 3, 4, 5, and 6, we're going to have those covered as well. So we're going to just keep on climbing and rocking and rolling and try to get these Thursdays episodes stacked. So, Pigskin Frenzy coverage games. Let's preview and predict these games, starting with Notre Dame at Miami. Right off the bat, Sunday night game, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ABC. We're going to talk about this game. For me, Notre Dame's the favorite, right? 3.5. You have the spreads up, right?
Yes, I do have the spreads up.
Or is it 2.5?
No, it was 2.5 yesterday. So let me see if it changed. I just reloaded so that we're accurate. That is why.
No, you're good.
We have. Do they play on Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
That's right. Okay, Sunday. The spread is it's still 2.5. So 2.5. Notre Dame minus 2.5.
So, given your thoughts on the spread, then we'll talk about the keys of the game and all that, and then we'll.
Okay. Minus 2.5 spread for the team that's away visiting Miami. I mean, I'm taking Notre Dame on this minus 2.5.
Yeah.
Like I said, personally, will I be rooting for Miami? I don't like Miami. I want to make that very clear. But personally, will I be rooting for the ACC? Absolutely. But I do think Notre Dame wins, especially ACC teams. We really have beef with Notre Dame because they're in the ACC for every other sport but football. So, but I'll take them. I think Notre Dame is really, really locked in, especially after their showing in the college football playoff last year. I think that Marcus Freeman is the perfect head coach for Notre Dame and has really done well and what needed to happen there. So I think it was great get by them when they hired him and promoted him to be their head coach. So I think they absolutely win it in Miami Gardens.
So do you think it's going to be, and this is before I did the keys and everything really quick, do you think they win by more than a field goal? Or is it going to be like a 3-point? Oh,
No,
okay.
No. I think they cover. I absolutely think they cover. So
touchdown more? You think it's going to be like just a touchdown or more?
I think it'll be. I think they'll cover. I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
Okay.
Miami is the best. I might be the best or the second best offensive line in the country. I have them as my Joe Moore Award winners. I think that they are absolutely the best offensive line in the country. Like I said, I might be wrong in the sense that Clemson might have. No, I don't think it's Clemson. There's one other team that has a solid O-line, but I'm pretty sure Miami is my top dog. And I don't know how the Notre Dame D-line is going to stack up against that. Like, I think that Miami will have time to get points on the board based off of just how good they are in the trenches on the offensive side of the ball. So I don't think they get demolished by Notre Dame, but I do think Notre Dame ends up winning and covering.
Absolutely. So we have our Pigskin Frenzy keys for the first time this season. We're fired up. We're ready to go. Notre Dame, number one, needs to establish the run with Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. They need to run the ball. And they are a fierce team when they do run the football. I mean, those two running backs are just – I mean, honestly, with those two guys, that duo is ridiculous. It's almost – I mean, literally to me, it's at the level of a Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen from Penn State. And they just got their running backs coach, Juwan Snyder from Penn State. So very interesting get there. Number two, I think C.J. Carr has to have a monster game. I know it's his first game. Would we expect that from him right off the bat? Probably not, because he's just now getting into the group of things. He's just starting. But I will say this. I think C.J. Carr has shown tremendous development in this quarterback battle with Kenny Minchey. It could have gone either way, from what I've heard. C.J. Carr, to me, was their dude, and I just think what he embodies as their quarterback, it's literally going to take them places during this season, I believe. So C.J. Carr has to have a monster game. Do I think it will happen? I don't know if I'm banking on it or not. We'll see, but I think he has to have a monster game. And then number three, you kind of touched on it a little bit. They got to win the line of scrimmage battle. They got to out-physical Miami up front, and I believe that if they do that, they can get the win. Miami's keys for me, defense makes a statement. They have to play better on defense, and they got to play defense and make that statement in this game. Show everybody that, okay, we have improved on defense right off the bat in a tough game against, a Fighting Irish team that just came off the national championship, right? Or a national championship appearance. Number two, same thing as number three for Notre Dame, win the line of scrimmage battle. You have to. You got to be physical. You got to play tough, and you have to persevere up front, because I know you're probably going to appreciate this. That's where football games are won, is up front in the line of scrimmage and in the trenches. That's where football games are won. That's how the Alabama LSU games in the very 2010, 2011 happened. That's why those games were so short, score wise. And it was 9-6 games because it was defensive and offensive line battles throughout the whole 60 minutes. So you got to win the line of scrimmage battle. And then number three for Miami, Carson Beck from 2023 shows up. What I mean by that is he has to play just like he did when he had Brock Bowers and he had Ladd McConkey. Now, a lot of people are going to sit there and say, okay, well, it was the only reason why he played that good was because he had those two guys. I understand that, but if he can find a way to not bring 2024 Carson Beck out, to be perfectly healthy throwing the football, to make accurate decisions, not turn the ball over, and show a little bit of, okay, this guy's, 2023 Carson Beck's coming out. If he can show that, they may have a shot at winning the game. Who do we have winning this game? I'm going to agree with Savanah. We're going to go on Notre Dame. I think it's going to be probably not even a field goal, not even 7 points. I think Notre Dame's going to just outright beat them 10 to 14 points. My score, if I had to choose, it'd probably be 31-21, Notre Dame. I think only because, this is kind of bad to say this, I just don't really see the hype around Miami right now.
Yeah, no.
I just got to believe it to see it. I think the defense still has question marks going into the season. I think if Carson Beck doesn't play the way he did in 2023 and he starts throwing a lot of interceptions and turning the ball over against a pretty gritty Notre Dame defense, I just don't see it happening. I think Notre Dame's going to win outright 31-21. Give me the Irish to go 1-0. Miami starts 0-1. Let's move on. Let's do Alabama at Florida State. What's the spread on Alabama at Florida State? Has that changed?
If it hasn't, it's it's 13.5. That's what it is. That's what it was yesterday.
We are going to let Savanah Tujague now give her analysis on this ball game. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to think, okay, this shouldn't be much of a game, right? But I want to hear Savannah's take on it because I think her take is going to be pretty interesting.
Oh no. Yeah, the spread is 13.5. Oh, I think Look, again, I'm rooting for the ACC. I am. I have to. It's in my blood. I know that the ACC means less to most, but to me it means the most. Look, something I had an oversight of for a while until I learned. I forgot that DeBoer got his guy. He got his offensive coordinator. He got Ryan Grubb, the guy that he worked with when he was at Washington, and ran it up, baby. So I genuinely think that they demolish Florida State. I genuinely think it gets ugly. And look, I have a special place in my heart for Florida State. The coaching staff there is people that I know and love dearly. I love Mike Norvell for hiring Gus Malzahn because in the college football coaching world, it's small. And someone like Gus Malzahn helped Mike Norvell get to where he's at, and he paid his dues to him and then did the man a favor. He didn't do him a favor in the sense that, like, we know Gus Malzahn is a good coach. He's a good play caller. He's a good offensive mind. He hired a phenomenal staff. Herb Hand is his O-line coach. I'll never not mention him. He's one of the best O-line coaches in the country. So I think that they'll be far improved on the offensive side of the ball at Florida State. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, but the university demands repayment. And there has been no payment made for the guy who said he was going to eat dog poop. And I can't let it go. The universe can't let it go. Okay? It's just, I wish, there has to be some type of ceremonial sacrifice to make this repayment. I know people are kind of high on Florida State, and look, it really couldn't get much worse than last year in the sense that they are the team that went from doing the best in 2023 to having the worst record ever in the history of college football the next year. Nobody has done worse than FSU. Right. And I live in the state of Florida. My best friend went to Florida State. I hate being a hater, but I think their season is better than last season, but that's not saying a lot because last season was disappointment, right? I think they're in a rebuild year. I think they're a school that has the NIL money to win games and get players. I just don't think that this is their year in the sense of we're back. They're not going to be giving Jameis Winston, Jordan Travis, Florida State. So yeah, I think it's close for a while, and then I think Alabama truly just runs away with it.
Okay, that's a good point. And the thing is, that was kind of hilarious that you brought up the Boston College.
It has to be mentioned because, what do you mean? No, that's just sitting out there in the universe, and it's not. I don't know. I'm just very scared. I believe in those type of things matter. If you said you're going to do something, you have to do it. You have to do it.
I think I forget about that tweet that you mentioned until you talk to me and bring it up. Every time, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I forgot that tweet happened, and that actually happened last season. That's unique, guys. She's not hating. She's just telling the truth. She's just telling the truth. That's all it is. It's just the truth. It's just facts, It's not hating when you're speaking the truth. So, Alabama at Florida State, the spread is 13.5. Keys to the game for Alabama, you got to slow down Thomas Castellanos. He's a really dynamic quarterback. He is. Don't get me wrong. But in Florida State even experienced that last year on Labor Day weekend. I saw that game. I watched it. I saw it. It was rough. It was rough for Florida State. But Bama's got to do the same thing. They got to figure out a way to slow him down this coming up Saturday. Number 2, you got to shut down their running game because Florida State, if they get the running game going, they can create long, drawn-out run plays, and that's not going to be good for Alabama's defense. We know that Tim Keenan is out all the D-line, so that's going to be a kind of a tough loss for them Saturday. We don't know who's going to replace him just yet, but that's got to sting a little bit. So shut down the running game, slow that down, and I think Ty Sitton's got to break out. I think that's the third and final thing for me for Alabama. Ty Sitton's got to have a monster game. Show everybody why you were named the starting quarterback for this team to replace Jalen Milroe. I think with Ryan Grubb, he has a shot at doing that, though. Florida State's keys, Thomas Castellanos has to break out. I think he's got to, show everybody why his talk is going to, bleed into on the field, right? He said that no one's going to stop. Bama's defense ain't going to stop him. They're not going to slow him down. He said that. Point blank, he said that. They're not going to stop him. So, all right, let's go and see it now. Let's go and see. Let's go and see it, right? So let's watch him break out, throw the ball, run the ball, just go crazy, right? Just break out, have a monster game, and let's see what happens. That's number one. I think Thomas Castellanos has to do that. Number two, establish that long, drawn-out run game. If you establish that, then you might have a shot at pulling off a shocker in week one. And then find a way to shut down explosive plays if you are Florida State's defense. I know that was tough last year. Very, very tough last year. But if Tony White has them ready to play come this weekend against a high-octane Ryan Grubb offense, and he can find a way to get the slow, high-octane Ryan Grubb offense down and can just stop those explosive plays and just shut them down, then Florida State's got a shot. And I believe that they would have they could pull off an upset if that happens. So overall, you said Alabama, right?
Yes.
Who do we have winning this game? We're going to go with Alabama. I will tell you why. I think it's going to be very tough for them to go 2-10. I think that was the record last year, 2-10, and have an opener like that right off the bat. You are rebuilding. Yes, Florida State will have a better year because there's only one way to go from 2-10, and that's up. I've said that for the longest time.
Yeah.
I just think that Ryan Grubb coming in, that offense is going to be loaded still. Doesn't matter if Jan Miller's out. Doesn't matter if you lost a good piece of that defensive line. I still think they are Alabama. Their roster's loaded. I think that Ty Simpson's going to have a good game, and he's going to prove to people why I'm the starter for a reason, and I have the most experience out of all these quarterbacks for a reason. So give me Alabama. It's more than 13 and a half. I'm sorry. I think it's going to be probably 42-17, honestly. That's my score. Bama 42, Florida State 17. In Doak Campbell. Please prove me wrong. I would love to see a shocker in week one. So
yes, I love an upset in week one.
Absolutely. I would love to see it. So 42-17, give me Alabama to defeat Florida State. It pains me to say it. It really does. But give me Alabama to beat Florida State in that one. LSU at Clemson. That one is a tricky one. And it's a tricky one important for both, but tricky one for one, Brian Kelly. And he really needs this win. When I say he needs this win, he really does. I think the spread that I last checked in my line, I'm not sure, 3.5, or am I wrong?
No, 3.5's right. Correct.
Okay, 3.5. So I'll start with you. You can go lead the floor. Take it away.
Clemson wins. Hands down. I don't know who has a better defense in the country than Clemson. They have the best defense in the country. They have 4 out of 5 of their offensive linemen returning. Cade Klubnik is my Heisman winner, and that is not ACC homer of me. That is if you just look at the quarterback that he was in 2023 versus 2024. Excuse me. And 2023 was because all of his wide receiver core was injured. And he didn't do phenomenal. But then when they were back, he went off. 46 touchdowns to like 6 or 9 interceptions. I can't remember if it's 6 or 9, but less than 10 regardless. To 46 touchdowns. He basically gets all those guys back. If he doesn't get him back, he got somebody in the transfer portal that was a freaking 5-star transfer. They are loaded. They arguably have the best roster in college football outside of Texas. And so it's at Death Valley in Clemson, South Carolina. Is it a night game? It is a night game, right? 7:30 kickoff? Yeah, it's a night game in Clemson. I know LSU fans travel and that they're rowdy, but it's going to be hard to win a game. It's going to be hard to win that game, especially with the roster talent that's returning. And if it's not returning, they get back that they got in the transfer portal. They only lost one player on defense from each layer of the defense. They returned every single other player, and they have a new coordinator who's phenomenal. So I don't see Clemson losing a game. Where? Until they get to the CFP. I think that truly the CFP is, I think the national championship, there's like two other teams, but I think the national championship is a little bit Clemson's to lose. Like, they should do it this year. Texas should too, but they're right there with them.
So Clemson wins.
Clemson wins. I think it's a close game though.
Yeah.
I do think it's a close game. I think Clemson covers, but I don't think it's like 45-15. I think it's like 28-32 or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That is pretty close.
I'm superstitious about saying scores. So
do you think that's the close? I mean, you're fine. You don't have to say anything. I was going to ask before I start. Do you think it's the closest game we see all weekend?
No, I think Texas Ohio State is closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you would think that Clemson covers for sure. Just they get the win. They just cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, hey, Clemson, they need it too. They need to prove that, hey, we're legit this year and we're coming for everybody. So LSU at Clemson. LSU's keys to this are simple. They need to win the line of scrimmage battle. That's a tough D line that LSU's going to go up against, man.
Yes.
They have one of the best D lines in the country, and Tom Allen is not afraid to say it either. He is confident in his D line. You get a stat, but LSU also has to establish a balanced run game as well. Garrett Nussmeier threw the ball like it was nobody's business last year. And I'm talking numbers like 80% passing, 20% rushing.
Yes.
That's a lot on Nussmeier. Yes. They have to establish a balanced run game with Caden Durham, who is a preseason All-American coming in, and then you have Harlem Berry, freshman running back, coming in for LSU as well. So you got that dynamic duo at the running game. They got talent. Establish the run game. You'll be fine. I think this is a big one. That receiver, this receiver room's loaded. This is a big one. And I think the third key right here for LSU is to try your best to contain that receiver room. And what I mean by that is you got to figure out a way to stop TJ Moore, got to figure out a way to stop Bryant Wesco, and stop Antonio Williams. That is a loaded receiver room. And especially on third down. Especially when it's third and short, you throw literally like a slant play. Pick your poison, dude. Kay Klubnik's got options. So you got to figure out a way to figure out a way to slow that down. Clemson's keys are this: win the line of scrimmage battle. You got one of the best O lines in the country and one of the best D lines in the country. So win the line of scrimmage battle, out physical them. You're fine. Start off fast. I think starting off really quick, especially if you get the ball first. If you get the ball first, you receive first. You strike first and strike hot.
Yeah, there's some crazy stat that, like, if you score the first touchdown, your chances to win are like 90%. It's something wild like that. And so if you get the ball first and you march down that field and you score a touchdown, you truly, you're likely winning that game. So if that's Clemson, they get the ball and they march it down their throats, dubs.
Right, you're right, and that's the truth. You have to start off hot.
Yeah.
I think for number 3 is an interesting one. Figure out a way to slow down that LSU offense, and and you just slow down, contain them, because that LSU offense is still good. You got a loaded receiver room as well. Nick Anderson, Barry and Brown, Xavier Thomas, Aaron Anderson. You also got Destin Hill coming in from Florida State as a transfer. A lot of people don't know that name, but I feel like as the season goes, they'll probably recognize that name a little bit more. Bauer Sharp at tight end. You could rotate him and out with Trey'Dez Green if you want to in the red zone, but I think Bauer Sharp's going to be their tight end for sure. But Clemson's defense has got to figure out a way to slow them down, contain them a little bit, and I'll add an extra nugget in there: force turnovers.
Yes,
you get Garrett Nussmeier to throw picks, and you see watch the Texas A&M game, what happened against A&M.
Yes.
That's pretty
a
much
great example.
Get Garrett Nussmeier to have let Nussmeier have that kind of game. If he does, literally throws a pick late or two, and he just starts getting a little bit rattled, and if it's the same Nussmeier we saw in big time games last year, then Clemson has it. The key for both teams is better quarterback play. That's it. I think really for sure, both quarterbacks have to be on. Who's the better quarterback in the game? Is it going to be Klubnik or Nussmeier? They're both talented. They're both good. I think that's going to be a really big nugget there in that game. Who outperforms the other?
I think I will always lean towards dual threat quarterbacks. And quite frankly, Cade Klubnik wins that battle every time. You said it yourself. Last year, LSU threw the ball 80% of the time. But if you got a quarterback who can't scramble when a play breaks down, or you can't scramble when you got TJ Parker blind blitzing off like your ass, like, I mean, if you can't scramble and avoid that, and that's truly why I think Clemson wins this game, right? Yeah. Because I think that Cade Klubnik is the better quarterback simply because, in my opinion, dual threat is always the biggest threat. And I've seen the man scramble in real life. It's unbelievable.
Okay. Now that I can breathe a little bit, because now I'm like listening to a lot of takes. Who does Joel Nard from Pigskin Frenzy have winning this game? I think it's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be very close. I think Clemson is going to come in motivated and ready to play. I think what we're forgetting about is LSU's O-line. Despite Will Campbell not being there, despite Emory Jones not being there, they still got a pretty good, deep O-line.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I said I was leaning towards Clemson, but but I'm gonna roll the dice. My heart's racing a little bit. I'm gonna roll the dice. Brian Kelly, please do not let me down on this one and get me memed. I think LSU is going to find a way to get the win in Clemson Memorial Stadium. That's a hard place to win.
Yeah.
31 out of 33 of their last 33 games, Clemson has won. I say LSU goes in, causes a little bit of chaos and uproar, gets the win, and I think it'll be close. I'm not going to sit there and say it's going to be 45-17. I will be shocked if LSU goes in there and blows Clemson out. That would be scary.
That would be like the shock. Look, I don't want it to happen, but that is the type of shocking thing I need from somebody in week one. Genuinely. Somebody give me that.
I think LSU wins the game. I think it's going to be 35-31. 35 LSU, Clemson 31. I think they get the win. I think it'll be tied. Clemson kicks a late field goal, make it 31-28, and then LSU walks it off with a touchdown late, and it's 35-31. LSU gets the win. Close. We'll just have to see. Watch me probably be wrong. This is the game I get wrong out of the weekend. Watch. I bet that's the game I get wrong. That one. I don't know why. Brian Kelly, it's time, man. It is time. This is going to be right here. If the fans can just cool it down on you right here, if this is it. You got to win this game. This is a must win. Texas and Ohio State. We'll wrap up with this one. Texas and Ohio State. Literally, this could be a toss-up in a pick'em game, honestly. I mean, it could be. I mean, I know Ohio State's the favorite by like 2.5. I'm not mistaken.
Not even that, 1.5.
Yeah, that could be a pick-up toss-up. Literally just straight-up pick game, honestly. It's literally Arch Manning versus Julian Sayin. You have a battle of two good offenses. I mean, that loaded receiver room with Ohio State, obviously. Jeremiah Smith, best receiver in college football. I mean, it's literally, there's so many factors in that to make this game so much fun, right? And we're getting it right off the bat, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. So I'll start with you. Take it away. Talk about the spread and...
Yeah, big noon kickoff. Every football fan's biggest ops, which...
We can talk about that a little bit if you want to touch on that. I saw your face a little bit.
Which, I mean, I'll never, however much you hate big noon kickoff, it's not enough. It just sucks.
Yeah.
But I will say the last two champions of college football came from the Big Ten. So they're doing something right up there in the freezing cold weather. Anyways, I would say I have Texas winning, and I have it being a close game. I think Arch Manning versus Julian Sayin is an interesting matchup. I think their offenses are going to be great. I think what it's going to come down to the fact that Texas's defense is just better, and that's saying a lot. That's saying from the standpoint that Caleb Downs is on Ohio State. He is arguably the best defensive player in the nation, starting at safety. He's headlining that defense. I am, unfortunately for 30 years, as of recent, fortunately, Detroit Lions fan. And I bring that up as to say that Matt Patricia is the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. And while I have very mixed feelings about the man because he did me kind of dirty in Detroit, he is a phenomenal defensive coordinator, and he did very well for the New England Patriots. I think they're good. I don't think they're as good as Texas, especially in the trenches, which, as we've said several times tonight, is where you win college football games. I do think that the receiver core at Ohio State, do I even say they're slightly better than Texas? I don't know. I know they have Jeremiah Smith. I know they have some other 4-star, 5-star guys. I don't think they got anybody out of the portal. I think they return everybody. But Julian Sayin's a young guy. He's got good people to throw to. The O-line for Ohio State is going to be a little dicey. They got a new O-line coach, Tyler Bowen. I might have butchered that. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm excited to watch Julian Sayin play. He's actually probably the player that I'm most excited to watch this fall. As for Texas, I mean, is there anybody who's more of an offensive wizard than Sark? Maybe Lane Kiffin, but I'd put him neck and neck. I think that Sark is one of the best play callers, best play designers in the country. I think Arch Manning knows ball better than anyone, and everyone's like, well, how do you know this? I know this for several reasons, but let's start off with the fact that his last name's Manning and who raised him. The man better know ball better than everybody else. He's got the best wide receiver core in the nation. Actually, that's what's cool about this game, is I think it's the two best wide receiver cores going up against each other. Yeah. So I can't wait to see who I honestly ends up being better. Sark usually has a rotation of about 3 wide receivers. I think more people on Texas wide receiver core will see the field this year just because they're that deep. They have that much talent. And the more people you have, the more fresh feet you have, the more people you're getting game day experience. To be honest, the Texas offensive line was a liability last year. If you can say they had a liability, it was them. They don't have very many returners, to be honest. I think it's a good thing because they didn't do what they were set out to do. They were a Joe Moore Award watch list before the started the season last year, and they truly didn't end the season where they needed to. I know their defense is like starred by their star linebacker, Anthony Hill. They got dogs. They got dogs and they got returners. And I think their defense is just going to be better than Ohio State's. And I think that that's actually what it's going to come down to. I still don't think it's a low scoring game simply because both of these offenses are extremely explosive. This would be a big win for Ryan Day, but I don't think he gets it done at the end of the day. I think Sark and the Longhorns go to the horseshoe and they win. Barely, but I think they win. I think it's close. I think it's about a field goal.
Yeah. That's a good point that you made, because I think Texas is going to be really, really deep. Obviously, they're loaded. Had the number 1 recruiting class last year. Good receiving room. Ryan Wingo going to be probably that leading guy for them. Emmett Mosley, the Stanford transfer. We'll cover that name. I know that your feelings on Stanford will we'll shoot that away. But by the way, that was a disappointing loss. I know that we're talking about Texas and Ohio State, but guys, that was a really gut-wrenching loss from Hawaii and Stanford. But I mean, what are your thoughts on that, really quick, before we move on to Texas and Ohio State again? But what did you think?
I mean, really? You want to know why I hate Stanford? They let me down night 1 of college football. They let the ACC down night 1 of college football. Miss me with that. That's embarrassing. I did pick Hawaii to win. I knew they'd win. As someone who went to college in Hawaii and lived there and had to travel to the mainland all the time to play games, quite frankly, the time difference is a mother effer. Like, it is. It's really hard to adjust to.
Absolutely.
Like, it sucks. And people are like, oh, it's not that, it's for a game. You wouldn't know unless you lived it. And that is the biggest advantage that Hawaii football always has when they play there, is that, like, a team has to deal with that time difference. And I mean, the humidity, whatever, this, that, and the other, that's fine. The time difference is difficult. So disappointing. Literally. Like, come on. You are a Power 4 program where Christian McCaffrey and Andrew Luck, regardless of my personal feelings about them, are freaking greats. Yes, exactly. And you go to Hawaii and lose?
Yeah.
Nah.
I mean, that's
Absolutely
tough.
not. And look, I don't want to discredit Hawaii. I know some of the coaches that have been there the last couple of years that really developed the talent there, and left that program in good hands, and they have a good football team, and shout out to them. Great job. Go Bows, baby. But yeah, disappointing. Disappointing for the ACC, not surprising. Like I said, Stanford tends to let me down regularly.
Andrew Luck, man, Stanford used to be really good, like about 12 years ago, in the top 5 in the BCS. Like, literally, when I was growing up watching them in the BCS era, I was like, man, if Stanford makes the national championship, I am running through a brick wall through Andrew freaking Luck. I thought he should have won the Heisman. That's a hot take,
Yes.
I know.
No, I don't disagree.
I thought he should have won the Heisman Trophy. I love me some Andrew Luck. Hopefully one day I already had a legend like Tim Brando on the show. It'll be a great thing to have Andrew Luck on the show one day. So Andrew Luck.
Busy.
Oh, he's a very busy guy. Oh, he has to be.
Busy. He needs to get busier, is what he needs to do.
And get busy by being on Pigskin Frenzy to talk about it. Okay, Texas and Ohio State. Let's talk about Texas and Ohio State really quick. Texas, keys to the game for them. Number one, figure out a way to contain those Ohio State wide receivers. I think they do have the defensive backs to do it. I just don't think that really applies to Jeremiah Smith for some reason, because Jeremiah Smith is an absolute monster. I always say when you see Jeremiah Smith, you're going to try your best, but I would, at the end of the day, just run away because he's scary. He reminds me of a Julio Jones when he played at college. And when I was growing up watching Julio Jones, that man was absolutely scary. And he reminds me a little bit of that. So find a way to figure out a way to contain those receivers, not just Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate as well. Number two, force turnovers. Figure out a way to get Julian Sayin rattled and force turnovers. I think he's his first game starting. Figure out a way to just let him turn the ball over. It's going to be kind of hard with the help he's got around him. But I do think if you find a way with that Texas defense, because they're deep, to get Sayin to turn the ball over, throw a pick or fumble the ball once or twice, maybe just one little turnover, then you got it. Then Arch Manning, you play lights out. You ball out. You prove to everybody, like, okay, he said a quote the other day, and it was probably honestly, one of the coldest lines I've seen in a minute. It was everybody else is gunning for us, and we have a target on our back. The way I see it, we have the red dot on everybody else. I think that mentality, I got chills literally just thinking about that. That's cold-blooded, dude. I think Arch, if he plays lights out and has that mentality, like he's gunning for that Ohio State defense, I mean, Texas could win that game. I mean, and I'm not going to say easily, but they'll outright win for sure. Ohio State's keys, win the line of scrimmage battle, just found a way to out-physical them. I know Texas is really deep on the line of scrimmage. Figure out a way to do that. I know they lost a little bit on that O-line, a tiny bit. Not too much, but a tiny bit, to the point where it could be tough for them to, at least, try to outman them in the line of scrimmage. And I know you know a lot about that, obviously. So it's going to be tough, I would think. Wouldn't you think it would be tough for them to, try to get them in the line of scrimmage just a little bit? Or no?
Yes. No, correct. You are absolutely correct. It's going to be a battle.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's an interesting one there. Force turnovers. Figure out a way to get Arch Manning to turn the ball over, which is going to be tough. because he's a Manning, and he's pretty smart.
Yeah.
We saw it against Mississippi State last year. We saw it against ULM or Louisiana Monroe last year. He's smart.
Yes.
He's going to be tough. So, and then lean on the running game to support Julian Sayet. Got James Peoples in there, man. He's a solid running back. Get him going. If you get him going and get that balanced running game going, and if Texas can't stop it, then Ohio State gets the win. Okay. Overall, who do we have winning this ball game? I think that it's going to be close, extremely close. I'm not going to say like a point. It's going to be like a field goal game, maybe. I think that Arch Manning's going to do enough to prove everybody wrong to get the win. I think Texas wins the game outright. I like him right now because he is a little bit more experienced than Julian Sayet in this battle. I'm not going to sit there and say Ohio State's going to, get blown out. If they did, I'm going to be very shocked. And it's going to kind of back my Texas point a little bit of, okay, they're the best team in the country. Give me Texas to win by a field goal, 34-31. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're loaded. I think it's going to be their time. Shooter McGavin said on Happy Gilmore, I paid my dues. It's my turn. And I think Texas is saying that right now. I paid my dues. It's my turn. So I think they're going to prove that week one in the shoe. Give me Texas winning 34-31. Final thoughts before we wrap up.
I am just so happy that college football is back, baby. The real Savannah comes out when it's college football season. So
she's going to start screaming at her TV. Screaming at games.
Absolutely. It's just a crazy time. It's the best time of my life and it's the worst time of my life. There's a lot on the line for my family personally. But I love it. I'm happy it's college football season. I love talking ball. It's that time of year, the best time of year. And so picking these games just to start us off, awesome.
Awesome. And we're pumped. We're all pumped for college football this weekend. Savanah Tujague, ladies and gentlemen, guys, that just about does it for Pigskin Frenzy. Big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by us. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Guys, Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. Just share around with others. Follow on there as well. X and Instagram, at Pigskin_Frenzy. Like my takes on there. I try to be as dry-humored and as funny as I can. And we're going to wrap up with a question because I have a bonus question for Savanah really quick before we wrap up. I just thought about it in my head. Then we have the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. Ladies and gentlemen, big thank you for tuning in each and every week, Tuesday and Thursday. Couldn't do this without you guys. We could not do this without our Lord and Savior Jesus. We love doing this, and we're so blessed by him to be doing this show each and every week. We give all the praise to him, and I try my best to spread his name across all platforms as well. Tuesday, we give my recaps to week one, talk about everything that happened and transpired in week one, and then next Thursday, we'll have our week two guest picker on, Jackson Groff from The Groff Show and The Volume. He will be joining us. He's an absolute dog on here. He is awesome, great guy, and he is a believer in Jesus, and we're going to talk to him about everything there. Before we wrap up, real bonus nugget question before we wrap up. I thought about this as we conclude. Savanah Tujague as college football commissioner. I said I was going to ask this off air, and I just forgot about asking this. So, real quick, what would you do as college football commissioner, and state your case on why you would be the best college football commissioner?
Okay, so let me also clear the air with this. I would be okay with Josh Pate being commissioner because him and I have come to an agreement that he can be the commissioner and I can be on the committee. So I would also be okay with that. If I was CFB commissioner, the first two things I would do is I would change the playoffs to 8 teams, bottom line. Like 8 teams is the right amount. And then I would figure out how to change NIL. Quite literally figure out how to change NIL in the transfer portal. Not that I disagree with the entities in and of themselves. I see the vision in transfer portal, and I think that players should absolutely be paid for their likeness and image. I would just change how it's all done. And I say that from a viewpoint of a college football coach's kid, and nobody views it from that lens because they don't care how coaches feel about it. And the bottom line is that I think I don't want to put words into their mouth, but I think I speak for all of them when I say it's exhausting. And the college football coaching life and world has already lost legend coaches like Nick Saban and Dave Clawson, and the list could go on, and that's just 2 head coaches. Imagine all the position coaches. Simply for other reasons too, but part of the reason was what it's become. And I think I think that CFB is so beautiful because of like the tradition and all the things that make it different than the NFL. And I think with NIL and the transfer portal and all that, we are losing sight of what we all love about college football. And so I would figure out how to make those things play into making sure that we preserve college football for what it was in the days of Cam Newton and in the days of Phillip Rivers, for example, since we were just talking about him. When schools aren't going to have legends like that anymore. That's devastating. So that's probably my spiel of like the main 2 things I would change if I was CFB commissioner.
Well, I'm not going to have a take on that because I'm not qualified. I am just the college football prodigy. Shout
Love
out
it.
to @Red Zone Blitz podcast. Go and listen to them. They're out in Vancouver. They're awesome. I'm just going to be dubbed the college football prodigy. So I will have a place in like the nether realm or shadow realm or something, but I'll be in behind like scoping out Savanah and Josh Pay. Like, oh, what are y'all doing here? You know, I'm just the prodigy. All right. I'll just be the college football prodigy here. So guys, from me, you can call me whatever you want. I'm Joel Norris signing off. That's Savanah Tujague. Ladies and gentlemen, for everybody out there, we're praying for you all and we love you all. As always, stay the course.